We're here. It's Labor Day weekend. Did you know that? Could you tell? How can you tell? All right. And because of the enormity of the material that we talked about last week about your worth is your wealth, or your wealth is your worth, or your wealth is created out of your self worth. And I decided to have a part two, which also includes that whole experience of debt. And debt, not just financial debt, but debt wherever you believe you lack. You lack time, you lack energy, you lack youthfulness, you lack motivation, you lack people, lack something, because we're always trying to fix it, always trying to get more. And so this whole belief in lack and that whole desire to experience greater wealth all comes from the human race belief in I am not enough. I am not enough. I don't deserve enough. I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm bad, but I want it all, but I can't have it all because. And so that whole question of how much do I believe I am worth? What is my value? And your answer to your question, how much is your value? That determines our experience of wealth. And from time to time, we come up, I don't deserve it. And the human race, well, let's look at just the United States. I'm not quite sure what our national debt is right now. I don't know, but if you've ever seen those little tickers that are ticking how fast it's going, it's like you can't even count how fast it's increasing. That's a consciousness of our nation made up of we people who believe we don't deserve. We don't deserve. And let's go right back to the very beginning. What don't we deserve? Think about it. For nothing, something created us. For nothing. We didn't do anything. And we've been given this life, this world, this universe. It is so glorious. It is so beautiful. If there were no humans on this planet, what a paradise. And we humans, right, being given this paradise to live in perfect situation, perfect conditions, perfect seasons, perfect, pick your place to live. If you like it all hot, if you like it all cold, you can go whatever. This perfect land. And that human race belief from the beginning that I don't deserve it, we have proceeded to trash it. Make it worthy of what and who we believe we are. We're trashing it. This beautiful paradise. And everything we create, we build into it this whole concept of not enough. And so wherever you are financially, and no matter how pleased you might be with yourself, like, oh, I'm doing good, I've got enough money, whatever. Okay, perhaps now you might understand how we're all connected into this very deeply rooted human race belief. We don't deserve this life we've been given. How could we ever? What could we ever do to repay our ancestors back? Think about them. Every single one of us have all the ancestors that there are before us, and every one of us has in our personal human history someone or many people who gave their lives so that we could live. It might have been our great grandparents who survived, and their parents who did whatever they needed to do so their children could live. But the end result is we got all of this self-sacrifice, and we didn't do what. How do we repay it? The answer is we can't. This gift of life has been given free and clear for us to use however we want. And when we bring in the question of whether we deserve it or not, we are always going to come up in lack, because it's not the divine's question in creating us. The divine in creating us didn't say, can I create something that's really going to be worthy of this gift that I'm giving them? The divine just gives and is creating each one of us to enjoy this gift of life that it's giving. No questions answered and no payment required. But as human beings, we don't have that concept of unconditional giving. We experience it with our children or whenever we are moved to give of ourselves. It's there present in us, a replication of that divine activity of self-givingness. In our Science of Mind textbook, Ernest Holmes says that love is the self-givingness of spirit. And so what we need to realize is that we have been created to just be ourselves and give of ourselves. And we do feel better when we give of ourselves. We do. It's inbuilt in our Principles of Financial Freedom that we've been using by Reverend Lloyd Strom and Reverend Marcia Sutton. They say self-esteem, which, right, determines our wealth, we can build our self-esteem by helping others. Every time we help another human being, we feel better about ourselves. And so by sharing our wealth, right, through charitable expression, we develop self-esteem. But it's not just our money. It's giving of yourself. It's being present. Being you, naturally you, who you are, no better than who you are. You're good enough to show up and to be present. I've been watching the US Open tennis this past week. I decided last week I'm bored and I need to give myself to something. And so I just decided to give all my attention to these tennis matches. And I feel like when I'm present, when I'm watching with all my attention, the underdog or whoever wins. When I'm paying attention, the person my heart wants to win wins. Am I affecting it? Maybe. The announcers can't stop talking about how the lack of fans in the audience, and we fans who are there are in the audience. We're there, we're present. We don't need to be in the room, in the stadium. So love is when you give your attention to something, when you give your focus, when you give yourself, your attention, your thought. I had thought that I would sit and knit while I'm watching tennis, but apparently you can't knit and watch the ball go back and forth at the same time. You can't do that. I mean, it doesn't work. But so I had to give more of myself. I couldn't be distracted. I have to give all of myself. And I mean, there's a lot of tennis going on, so I can't do it as much as they're showing. But every time I am showing, everyone out there in the court is doing their best. It's amazing. It's just amazing. I believe I'm giving my attention, and I feel better. And so that's what we need to realize, that if we believe we are not enough, we do need to grow in our appreciation of ourselves and our value and our worth just the way we are. But then it needs to be given. It needs to be expressed. And as I go out in this world, in and out of the little fast food neighborhood, coffee place, whatever. I mean, every time I'm able to hold the door for someone, I feel connected and valuable and worthwhile. And maybe it wasn't a whole lot. I just held the door open for you so you could get out with all your coffees in your hands. but they accepted the gift. And so the other thing that we give is an acceptance of others giving. We accept. So sometimes people hold the door for me, and I appreciate it, and I thank them, and I because it's all this gift of life, and we are sharing it with each other, and that's what we are here for. So we need to realize our value, and self-esteem does grow as we realize the value we are giving to others. On Monday, I attended a funeral graveside service for a young man, friend of mine, and being there, I didn't have anything to say, I didn't have anything to do, I was just there, but I felt called to be there, and I felt I am there for my friends. I am there to support them and to love them. At one point, I was there, and the little poster of photos of the person was getting, knocked around by the wind a little bit, and I was there to hold it so it didn't go flying all over the place. I was there to give myself. And so it's not for us to measure our gifts, to measure our giving, but to value it and realize it's enough. It's all that's asked for. It's all you've got. All you've got to give is yourself. And it's enough. You're there to... Now, the belief in lack and the belief that we lack something is what causes us to reject ourselves and to try to fix ourselves and become something else. Like, if I were better, if I were stronger, if I were this, if I were that. And so we spend all our energy trying to change ourselves, improve ourselves, become a better self. And what we're doing with all of that energy is we are not accepting who we are and giving what we can give. We're too busy rejecting our gift because we think it's too small. And yet we're there to give it. We're there to give it, whatever it is. And so, yeah, I remember, was it this year? I think it was. I went to the Rolling Stones concert. Was it this year? Someone's nodding. Yes, it was. I'm good. I mean, who, whatever. I remember being way up there in the stadium, the football stadium, down there in Philadelphia or something. And it was my first Rolling Stones concert, and the audience around me were the mildest group of rock fans I could ever have seen in my life, whatever. Some of them were a little scared because they were so high up. And I was like, oh, good Lord. How we've all changed, but okay. So, but I was there, and what I had to give was being a fan. It wasn't to amuse everybody all around me, although maybe I did, but no, I was there. I was part of the mob. We didn't get to do the wave. Have you ever done the wave? I mean, boy, you're there just to be a part of the wave. But it means it's an acknowledgement that we are there and we belong and we have a part. And the part is sometimes where we are. The role that we have depends upon where we are standing, where we are sitting. And so to be there and to be giving of yourself, to be giving your attention, to be giving your thought, to be giving your love, to be giving your fandom, whatever it is, it's there and it's needed and it's enough. And so debt, again, in this teaching, they taught us, and I spoke last week, that wealth is a biofeedback device. And it makes us aware of how much we like ourselves at any particular time. And so the more we like ourselves, the more we will be able to experience, accept, and enjoy wealth. And wealth is a feeling. And we also learned last week that you can have more money than you believe you deserve or can handle, in which case that's not a feeling of wealth. That's out of balance, as well as having too little. So today let's talk about debt, because it's another biofeedback device. And debt, the flip side of wealth, is a mechanism to make us aware of how much doubt and disbelief we have hidden away within our consciousness. It shows us, or it's an indicator of the disparity between how much we think we want and how much we feel we deserve. And so everybody else has got all this good stuff. I want it too. What's wrong with me? And that belief I lack and I don't deserve, but this desire to have all this other sort of stuff creates a disparity in us. And we might try to solve that disparity by buying more than we are receiving and going into debt because we deserve it. But we're saying that to ourselves, right? Because we believe we don't deserve it. But what? He deserves it. She deserves it. Look at them. They're a mess. It's not right. I'm a better person than they are. You know that we all have heard those kinds of conversations. But what we want to realize is the amount of money that we experience is our subjective acceptance of the level of money. It's our belief, and has nothing to do with what the divine feels we deserve, because the divine is giving us everything. All, take it. It's all yours. And it's our level of acceptance is where we're getting the trouble. So what we want to get free of, free in ourselves, is what we believe is our value. And if there's debt or lack of not enough time or not enough energy or not enough sugar to make the cake, whatever that is, we want to realize that it is an indicator of something in us that doubts our value, doubts our good. And doubt is a call to know more truth or know more God or be more connected to God. That's the whole purpose of doubt. Doubts are meant to be faced. They're meant to be faced and dispelled and erased. Because to doubt who you are and to doubt your value is to doubt God's creation and God's glory and God's reason for creating you. We've got that saying all over the place right now, which I can't stand, but it is what it is. You know, it is what it is. But our life is what it is. We've been given this gift of a great and glorious life. Everyone has. And when we realize and appreciate that we're a part of the gift and that this great and glorious universe that we have been surrounded by, that we are a part of it. We're a part of the landscape. We're as great and glorious as those tree frogs that are grunting out there right now. Early September, late August, they all get going. You know, all those noises out there, I always thought it was little insects or something. It's tree frogs. And I'm like, where are these tree frogs? I have like sat there at a tree looking, where is this frog that's making this noise? I don't know. Can't see it, but it's there and it's loud, right? That's you. You're as good as a tree frog, right? Make your noise. Make your noise, be present. So we need to notice when we move into debt, no matter what kind it is, into an experience of lack, whether it's energy or health or money or loving relationships or whatever. And then what do we do when we realize that we are believing and experiencing the belief of I'm not enough? And of course, spiritual practice is the answer. One of the spiritual practices that Reverend Marcia Sutton has advised, she would say, if you have a whole lot of bills that you can't pay, say you are in debt, and you can't pay your bills, she recommends the spiritual practice of putting all your bills together and your hands on them and saying the Our Father. And in particular, those two little phrases, and forgive me my debts as I forgive my debtors, instead of some versions have trespasses, some versions have debts, but to say it and to mean it. And so to call, because again, my Father, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in my earth as it is in heaven. Give me this day my daily bread, and forgive me my debts as I forgive my debtors. This is another point that they make in their work about dealing with debt is debt demonstrates dependency. And usually wherever we get into debt, we are dependent upon the one who has financed us or who has helped us in some way. And for a lot of people, that experience of being helped by others and realizing it's not the truth of us, we can develop an anger and a hatred toward that person who is supporting us. And so to allow ourselves to humbly accept the help and the support of others is another spiritual practice. But it can be accepted easier, at least it is with me, when I realize it's part of the circulation of life and that I give, right? I give, and someone is giving me the gift of receiving my help, my money, my gift, whatever. And when someone is giving to me, and I know there are those of you in the audience who are thinking, Karen, you got to work on this. And I know I will. But when someone is giving to me, I am giving them the gift of being able to give of themselves, right? So there's a balance. And it may not be the same people. I give to this one, but a completely different person is the one who gives to me. But that's because it's the divine arranging it. And so if you find that you are angry at your credit card company or the bank or your mortgage company or any organization group, the IRS, the government, anywhere where you owe money, then you can also realize, that is because I'm out of balance. I need to face my doubts and dispel them and realize I am enough and do my spiritual work so that I am divinely guided in the use of the gift of money. And another spiritual practice along the way when you find yourself in that situation is that praising prayer, right? Praising and raising your debtors, your debtees, right? So if it's the credit card company, let me see, I'll pick, because they're supporting the tennis. I praise you, American Express. I raise you, American Express, in the name of love. Have you done that? Have you praised and raised your credit card companies whenever you owe money? I have. Well, get with the program. It's easy. It's easy. And then they recommend that you do what you are guided to do to get out of that experience of debt. They recommend that the first step to getting out of debt is to love and bless the ones we are indebted to. And the second step is to have the intention to repay them. And the third step is to do it. Get rid of it. It's not divine, it's not natural, it's not normal. And Susie Ogden, she recommends that you don't even carry a mortgage, that you pay that off as fast as possible, because the weight of debt on your energy, the weight of your doubt, the weight of your belief that you are not enough is horrible to carry. And how many people, right, in our human race are having the actual experience of weight issues that could be associated with this burden of debt that they are carrying around in their consciousness. And so, look, this great and glorious life given to us free and clear, there's a place in the sun. That place is free. That place in the sun is free, and we can go and sit there. This is a gorgeous day right here in New Jersey. We could just go out there and we could just sit there, socially distanced and with your mask on. That's fine. You could sit there. It's free, right? It's gold. And how can we ever pay for it? The answer is we can't. And the thing is, there's no charge. There's no charge for the life you've been given. It's you. And the only thing that makes us feel good about living our lives is accepting who we are, just the way we are, and giving wherever we are to whatever is there. And whether you're giving all your attention and all your focus to your kitchen floor that you're scrubbing, you are loving that floor and you are fulfilling your purpose, and you feel better, don't you? Scrub those kitchen floors. Yes. Right? Or if you're with another and you're just listening, you're just there for them. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I got nothing. I'm here for you. That's it. And those of you who have received that gift of someone just there for you, it's enough. It's enough. We need it. We're designed to be connected that way. And so, the question of whether we deserve something or not is not from God. Human beings make it up. And who knows who first cooked the whole thing up. But when we don't fully appreciate what is here and what we do have and what we do have to give, when we don't reject ourselves and our gifts, we realize it takes our whole thought away from getting this and whether I deserve it or not into gratitude and just gracious, I am that I aming. I am that I am. And it's enough. So spiritual practice, I think, is critical right there to answer that very first question of our existence. I am enough. Even if my whole life, my whole job is to just sit in this lighthouse and move the light around. And there's never an issue. And I never even see all the ships who are using it or whatever. But that is what is mine to do, and I do it. And it's enough to accept that and to do it with all your love and all your attention and all that you've got, all your creativity. That is practicing giving unconditional love. So the divine gives its gifts to us unconditionally, and then it's us to give the gifts we've been given unconditionally, just like a light. The lights shine, the lights don't care whether anyone is in the room to enjoy the lights or not. I have new neighbors, and they removed all the trees that separated, that used to block our view of each other. So now I can see them. They can see me too. But, I look at them. And I got this dog. I think it's the dog, because it took me a while to figure out that they leave their kitchen light on all night. And I'm like, just waking up throughout the night, looking up, going, my gosh, they're up too. They're up too. They're up too. Then I finally figured out, wait a minute, that light's on all night. They're not up all night in there. Then I figured out, oh, they leave their light on for the dog, because that dog is a yelper. And thank you very much. Thank you very much for leaving that light on for the dog. It's enough. It's enough. So our spiritual practice, right, it goes right back to the self, the circulation of love, beginning with loving yourself and then loving yourself as a part of this whole universe and giving the gifts you've received wherever you are, whatever is appropriate, whatever is being called for, and realize it's enough. You belong, you're there, you're owning the space, you're not vacant, you're there. It's alive. There's life that's being lived there. And it's you. And it's you living your own true self. And that is what life is about. And just do that. And notice if you feel better or not. I mean, I can sit and go, oh, I'm so bored, I'm lonely. Stop it already. Let's get back to normal. I can't take it. I'm crazy, whatever. Or it can go, well, let me turn on the boob tube. US Open. Great. I'm a fan. Self-declared fan. I am a fan. I'm there for you. Whoever you are. I don't care. Whatever. I'm there for you. And I'm going to root for you. And I'm not going to knit that much. I mean, but sometimes I do knit. Because I'm thinking about the person I'm knitting it for. And I love that person, and I love the yarn, and I love the knitting, and I love the little googly eyes that I have to put on the thing. Or the floor, or the dishes, or the animal, or the baby, or the person on your Zoom call. You are enough. So let's take this moment then, and while Reverend Rich plays our next little interlude, let's think about this great and glorious gift of life that we've been given for nothing, free and clear. The ticket's been paid, you're on the ride. And think about the gifts that you've been given, your talents and abilities, the gifts that you've been given that you can be giving more of wherever you are. And then when I come back, I'll do another spiritual mind treatment for all of us. So let's do that now.
Abundance is our birthright. It surrounds us every day. Our consciousness can hold the thought of prosperity today. The message is quite simple. Peace be unto you. It's all there for the taking. I swear these words are true. Close your eyes. Let your mind be soothed. Let the joy of giving flow from God to you. Every day we get the chance to practice what we preach. It's not hard, just speak your truth. It's all within your reach. Close your eyes. Let your mind be soothed. Let the joy of giving flow from God to you. Let the joy of giving flow from God to you.
And so let's take this truth in. This word is spoken for each one, that there is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is each one's life now. Each one has been given this gift of life. And that life that has been given is a great and glorious one, filled with infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite resources to be called upon to create any kind of experience that anyone desires in any kind of way. And so each one knows that it's not a question of being deserving or worthy. Each one is enough because that divine, omniscient, all-powerful being decided intentionally and with full awareness to create each one just the way they are. Each one is God designed and God intended. And if it's good enough for God, this life is good enough for each one. And so each one accepts this gift of life that he or she is and represents it wherever they are, and knows that this is belonging, that this is expressing all that is, that this is being a part of this world, and this is being a blessing. And so each one is accepting that now, and any belief or question about whether one deserves it or doubts about it or any belief I am not enough, it's all vanished in the light of the realization that it is God that created each one, and to God goes the glory. And that is each one. And so this is the truth. Each one's self-esteem and self-appreciation and self-acceptance is raised a whole new level of consciousness and embodiment, and therefore experience and wealth and goodness. This is truth. I'm grateful it's truth. I let it go to the law. Law made it so. It's already done. And so it is. And that's the way it is. All right. So